3 months ago, she still witnessed her parents' marriage come to an end. At that time, her parents were constantly arguing for the right to take care of her. No one wanted to take care of her, treating her like a dog that didn't understand human language and didn't need to be cared for. Not long after the family broke up, she was sitting in a luxurious car with her father, heading to her wealthy stepmother's house. She pretended to understand and greeted her stepmother politely. Her stepmother also courteously told her, "You don't need to be shy. Tonight we will go on a honeymoon trip with your father. If you need anything, just tell Aunt Jong, everyone here respects her a lot." As soon as her stepmother finished speaking, Aunt Jong gave her a sharp, disapproving look. Lin Wu-jing, although she understood silently, still pretended to obediently nod and said, "I want to go for a walk for a while." Her stepmother also gladly agreed right away, and also said, "After your walk, tell my son to come and pick you up." Lin Wu-jing didn't want to hesitate at home, so she stood up and said, "Thank you, Mom," and then went outside. So she wandered the streets, with no destination in mind. Suddenly, she was caught by a small, not too eye-catching tattoo. She pushed the door and stepped inside, the pink light shining on the grey wall. The wall was filled with all kinds of tattoos. In the corner of the house, a pillow was lying on the floor. There were 3 people sitting on the carpet, 3 siblings looking very unique. The 3 of them stared at her, and she awkwardly waved and greeted them. A handsome man raised his outstretched arm and patted the pillow behind him. Lin Wu-jing discovered that there was someone else under the pillow, sleeping soundly and not reacting to being patted. The man with a top-knot hair bun slapped the person's butt and shouted, "Shen Quan, stop sleeping. Get up and entertain our guests." The beautiful sleeper in the forest finally woke up, pulled the pillow and hit the handsome man with the top-knot hair in the face. Shen Quan buried her face in the pillow, groggily sat up, messed up her hair, and asked, "Got a tattoo?" Lin Wu-jing was surprised and muttered to herself, "Oops." Shen Quan stood up and asked, "Where is your tattoo?" Lin Wu-jing's eyes involuntarily glanced at Shen Quan. And because of being kicked in the butt and looking so beautiful but beaten, she unconsciously said, "It's a shame about my butt." The 3 of them were surprised and silent. Shen Quan also turned back to look into her eyes, waiting for her to explain. Lin Wu-jing was very embarrassed and asked, "Can I have a tattoo on my butt?" Shen Quan paused for about 3 seconds and then turned back to approach her. Lin Wu-jing tried to maintain a composed facade, even though he was starting to regret the lie he had told. Shen Quan's unexpected response caught him off guard, making him realize that he might have to commit to the deceit he had concocted. During his initial trip to the tattoo parlor, Lin Wu-jing had requested a simple design for his buttocks, but the shop owner's nonchalant attitude forced him to keep up the charade. He feigned interest in the various tattoo designs laid out on the table, including an unappealing graffiti piece that seemed out of place among the other artworks. Mistaking the drawing for a Doraemon design, Lin Wu-jing complimented it insincerely, only to be corrected by Shen Quan, who had actually crafted the Hello Kitty tattoo himself. Feeling embarrassed by his error, Lin Wu-jing chuckled awkwardly and silently criticized the tattooist's work. Eager to change the subject, Lin Wu-jing inquired about the differences in pain and aftercare for various tattoo positions. Shen Quan casually explained the varying levels of discomfort and maintenance required, causing Lin Wu-jing to express his fear of pain. Shen Quan light-heartedly suggested that he choose a less sensitive area for the tattoo, quipping that thick-skinned regions would be less painful. Suddenly, Lin Wu-jing's phone rang. It was her stepmother's son and her current older brother, Fu Mingzhao, calling. She picked up the phone obediently and said, "Brother." On the other end of the line, he said, "I'm feeling sick, I won't be able to pick you up later." Lin Wu-jing was speechless, silently cursing his terrible acting skills. So she pretended to care and asked softly, "How bad is your illness? What's your fever?" There was silence on the other end for a moment, then he blurted out a number, 40 degrees. Lin Wu-jing acted concerned and said, "Should I call for an ambulance for you?" Her brother hung up immediately. Everyone knew 114 was the emergency number. Lin Wu-jing put down the phone and made an excuse to leave, saying, "I have to go now." Shen Quan didn't stop her. Only the handsome man with a bun waved goodbye to her enthusiastically, saying, "Come again next time." As the door closed, the man with the bun began to admire Lin Wu-jing. "The young lady just now was so beautiful, wearing that dress, her eyes are as clear as crystal, completely different from those who pretend to be fairies on the street, but Shun Quan said nothing. Even if that girl is beautiful, with fair skin that shines, she's empty inside, there's no soul in her eyes. When you look at her, it's like looking at a rock by the roadside. There's nothing special about her, the man with the bun continued. I really regret not being able to make friends with such an innocent and lovely young lady just now. She must have been well cared for by her family, just like a little cat. Shun Quan chuckled at the sight of the Hello Kitty painting on the table, finding it rather unattractive. Playfully, he remarked, "Where's the cuteness? It's just a cat. If I were to touch it, be careful not to get bones left." The man with bun hair, thinking Shun Quan was still half asleep and teasing her, confidently retorted, "A fairy wouldn't soil her hands with that. Even I would be cautious to touch it." Shun Quan tapped the painting lightly with his fingers and replied confidently, "Why don't you give it a try then?" In her dream that night, Lin Wujing envisioned a dark-haired man tattooing Hello Kitty on her buttocks with an electric drill. Terrified, she pleaded, "No. Your Hello Kitty is too ugly to be tattooed on me." Ignoring her protests, the man suggested tattooing a glow-in-the-dark clock instead. Startled, Lin Wujing woke up, unable to understand why she would have such a dream. Realizing she had only consumed a glass of juice all day, she hurriedly left the tattoo shop to buy some food. By chance, she bumped into Fu Mingzhao, her stepmother's son and her stepbrother. Without hesitation, she sweetly called out, "Brother," a reflex she had developed since childhood to please others with her sugary demeanor. But Lin Wujing always speaks in a way that is very soul-stirring, scaring the whole village. Fu Mingzhao's face turned dark as if he was about to rush in and punch her. But before he could get angry, she quickly ran up to the attic. She apologized, "I'm sorry, I was just joking this afternoon, I didn't mean to call the fire truck to take you away. But it's also your fault for having a 40-degree fever. I was worried, so I thought of putting out the fire. Besides, my parents aren't home these days, so I have to take care of my health. Drink hot water, no, warm water." Because of this, she locked herself in the room for a long time without going out to eat. There was nothing to eat in the room either. So she suddenly fell asleep. But now she realized that she should go out to eat something. So she changed clothes and went to the convenience store near her house to buy a dirty skewered snack to warm herself up. Then she found a corner by the road and sat down. As soon as she took a bite of the dirty skewered snack, she felt a surge of energy. Suddenly she recognized a familiar figure walking past her. It turned out to be the tattoo shop owner and the guys she had met in the shop. The shop owner must have caught up on sleep after she left. He no longer looked tired. But Fu Mingzhao looked confused and stared at her as she put the bag of items down. But immediately after that, he noticed something and looked towards her. Lin Wujing was hesitating whether to go to greet them or not. Then she suddenly remembered the dream she just had, a short but vivid dream. She was afraid that if the owner of the shop used the electric drill again, she would be finished. She continued to focus on finishing the dirty skewer in her hand. Shun Quan was puzzled for a moment, with a suspicious look on her face. Just because this girl was sitting by the road eating dirty skewers, she had annoyed the group of gangsters. The red-haired man looked fierce, smoking a cigarette and only paying attention to her with a glance. The red-haired man's eyes swept from her face to her feet. Then exhaled a puff of smoke. He was about to say something when Shun Quan signaled to him to step aside and said, "Even heaven has to avoid a meal, right?" The red-haired man, intending to tease her, was cut off and felt very resentful. He still respected Shun Quan's reputation, calling out, "Quan Wei, are you free today? Come and help us." But Shun Quan just pointed to the convenience store and said, "I came to buy a bottle of water." The red-haired man stood still after hearing this, and his gang followed suit, all with disgruntled faces. The man with the buns in his hair exclaimed, "How did this guy do that?" Lin Wujing couldn't help but laugh out loud. She finished the dirty skewer in her hand and then took out a handful of rice. But she still wasn't finished. She took another dirty skewer. In a tense situation where both sides were brandishing swords, she remained calm and unwrapped her rice ball, continuing to eat as if nothing was happening around her. Shun Quan, on the other hand, paid no mind to the escalating conflict as he casually massaged her shoulders, reminding the hot-headed redhead to act quickly and settle the dispute before returning to rest for the night. The upcoming school day loomed ahead, with unfinished homework still waiting to be completed. Lin Wu-jing was dumbfounded, unable to comprehend how a gang leader could have to attend school and submit homework like any other student. Perhaps his class advisor had a soft spot for him, leading to this peculiar situation. Despite being embroiled in a fierce fight, the student made sure to complete his homework before the school bell rang the next morning. The fiery redhead, unable to contain his anger, grabbed Shen Quan by the collar and vented his frustration, questioning the gang leader's sense of self-importance with a taunting tone. However, his outburst was quickly met with a powerful blow and a swift kick from Shen Quan, sending him crashing to the ground and howling in pain. As he lay defeated, his shoe even went flying across the room. Shen Quan knelt down, mocking his opponent and reminding him of the respect due to an elder brother like himself, witnessing their leader being humiliated. The followers of the redhead lunged forward with sticks in hand, ready to avenge their fallen comrade. Not to be outdone, Shen Quan's loyal followers met the challenge head-on, daring their adversaries to come at them with a defiant shout. The clash that ensued was chaotic and violent, with both sides refusing to back down. Meanwhile, Lin Wu-jing finished his meal, cleaned up after himself, and prepared to dispose of the dishware in the trash can, perhaps hoping for an end to the madness that had erupted before him. Then there were two female store employees standing on the side looking, holding a phone about to call 113. Lin Wu-jing looked at the figure in black and thought for a moment, decided to remind them. So she walked up, pulled Shen Quan's sleeve. Shen Quan turned back to look at her. She said, "It seems like someone is about to report to the police." The beautiful girl sitting on the side of the road was also being watched by thugs. Unexpectedly, a gangster stood up to protect her. These hooligans were too rude and were beaten up by the gang leader. Their younger brothers also rushed in to fight. Lin Wu-jing saw someone reporting to the police, so she pulled Shen Quan's sleeve to remind him. But the noise of the fighting was too loud for Shen Quan to hear clearly. So he had to bow down to her, and she also raised her foot to lean into Shen Quan's ear and said, "It seems like a girl just called the police." After hearing that, Shen Quan did not react, then looking at him, he still seemed sleepy, walking into the convenience store. Lin Wu-jing frowned, feeling that her words were ineffective. But suddenly, Shen Quan turned around and said, "It's already 10:30, the best time to go to sleep." She sighed at the gang leader's way of life. Lin Wu-jing saw the female employees looking at Shen Quan with admiration. He walked around the counter and then took 2 rice balls to the cashier. Lin Wu-jing secretly glanced at him. Just by looking at his profile, she knew this face had harmed many innocent girls. At this time, outside the store, the sound of a police car siren rang out, and the thugs who had just fought left the scene. Shen Quan held a piece of rice ball and suddenly shoved it into her hand, the rice ball still slightly hot. She looked at Shen Quan with suspicion, and Shen Quan explained, "Did you drop a rice ball just now?" She just remembered that she seemed to have startled from seeing them fighting. Carelessly dropping the rice ball on the ground, she politely said, "Thank you, Mr. Gangster, for giving me the rice ball." She went home and fell asleep, not knowing if the intense fighting scene from last night had affected her spirit, but she slept very well that night. In her 3 days here, this was the best night's sleep. Her eyes glanced at the rice ball and she remembered that she had forgotten to eat dinner last night, so she proficiently opened the package, intending to have the rice ball for breakfast. But as soon as she took a bite, she felt nauseous, the sour and stale smell of the rice ball choking her throat. She quickly vomited out all the rice. It was only then that she remembered that the rice ball had a 3-day expiration and had to be kept at a temperature of 0 to 5 degrees Celsius. She also felt a little guilty towards Shen Quan for wasting the rice ball that the kind and gentle gangster had bought for her. The gangster always felt sleepy. But even while fighting on the streets, he remembered to do his homework. The morning after the opening ceremony, Lin Wu-jing overslept and forgot to bring in his homework. In class, he was like a sleepwalker, not paying attention to anything around him. The class leader unexpectedly became his desk mate, which made him feel uneasy. The class leader mentioned that Quan Wei, who hadn't attended school for a year, was his previous desk mate and was daring enough to sit with him. Lin Wu-jing's desk mate remained quiet as Lin Wu-jing babbled on, until he suddenly asked if Quan Wei could hear them. Shun Quan replied affirmatively, causing Lin Wu-jing to apologize and promise not to speak ill of Quan Wei again. The homeroom teacher then directed the class to bond with their desk mates by looking into each other's eyes for a minute. Despite the reluctance of some classmates, the homeroom teacher started the timer. Lin Wu-jing turned to Shun Quan with a bewildered expression, trying to concentrate, but found himself unable to speak after just 10 seconds. As 30 seconds passed, he felt completely speechless. The muscles in my face started to go numb. Shun Quan calmly looked at Lin Wu-jing. He didn't have the ability to judge the opposite sex, but the girl in front of him was attractive. Her eyes were bright, her lips were thin, her skin was fair, and up close, you could even see each of her eyelashes clearly. Before, he had praised her for tying her hair up, but now, he could see that even his gaze at her tied-up hair was commendable. 50 seconds passed, and Lin Wu-jing couldn't help but speak up, asking, "Are you sick? You used to always speak with a stuffy nose." Shun Quan only responded slowly, "Yeah, a little bit." Lin Wu-jing continued to find a topic to talk about. "Yesterday, you gave me a rice ball. But I forgot to eat it last night. This morning, I found that it had gone bad already." Hearing this, Shun Quan showed no sign of concern, saying, "If it's gone bad, then that's it." Finally, after 60 seconds, Lin Wu-jing turned away, finally surviving the ordeal. But the homeroom teacher was quite pleased. He wrote 5 characters, "My desk partner," on the board and assigned the whole class an assignment. "I want you to remember the feeling of looking at each other. What impression did your desk partner leave on you? In 3 minutes, each of you will stand up and talk about your desk partner from your own perspective." Let's start with Lin Wu-jing. The first day the girl went to school. She had to look at her gangster desk partner for 60 seconds. She thought she was going to die of embarrassment, but the homeroom teacher even used actions to prove that she was even more embarrassed. They had to summarize while looking at each other. What was the first impression that your table mate left for you? Each person took turns to speak. Embarrassingly, Lin Wu-jing was the first to speak. She took a deep breath, beginning to remember this gangster. It seems like the first time she saw Shun Quan was 3 days ago at the tattoo shop. Shun Quan lay on the sofa, covered in a blanket, sleeping soundly. The deepest impression must have been his long, shapely legs, very attractive. She exploded, unable to talk about this in front of the whole class. But now, the homeroom teacher had started to ask the class to applaud, "Please come to the podium." Lin Wu-jing stood stiffly. Moving slowly, her eyes constantly glancing at Shun Quan, trying to find more descriptive words. Shun Quan noticed her strange look, as if he understood something. He raised his hand to clap twice, encouraging her. Lin Wu-jing was speechless. "I want to praise him forever." She stood on the podium, the class below silent and sympathetic, as if she said that when she stepped down, Shun Quan would take the knife and chop her into pieces. Lin Wu-jing took a deep breath, the whole class also breathing with her. She began to speak. "My tablemate is a very studious person. He even tried to do homework one day before the semester started. Not only staying up late, which made him late to class, but also getting sick. Finally, he forgot to bring the homework." The entire class held their breath while playing hot potato with a rock. The class rose, looking at the teacher with a mixture of fear and reverence, as if she were a brave warrior carrying explosives to destroy enemy hideouts. Next, it was Shun Quan's turn. Unexpectedly, at that moment, a teacher entered and called the head teacher outside. When the teacher returned, Shun Quan was stared at by the whole class. He yawned to express, "I just finished speaking," then glanced at the head of the class sitting behind him. The head of the class quickly understood and reluctantly stood up and said to the head teacher, "It's my turn." The whole class finally survived the 80-second catastrophe. Introducing the classmate next to you when the bell rings also rang. The whole class sighed in relief, like bees coming out of a broken hive. Lin Wu-jing suddenly got called back by the head teacher. "Don't forget to go to the Physical and Arts building to get your uniform." The head teacher also pulled the head of the class back, "Show her the way. By the way, introduce the school campus to her." The head of the class led her on a tour of the school grounds before taking her to the Physical and Arts building. 2 of them past the basketball court. Lin Wu-jing was quite pretty, and she was not wearing a uniform, so the whole school noticed her. A few young men playing basketball also unconsciously turned to look at her. Even whistling. The head of the class glanced towards the basketball court and discovered that Lin Wujing's classmate was there too. He gently reminded Lin Wujing, and she also turned to look. Indeed, on the first day in her new school, Lin Wujing saw Shen Quan sitting on the basketball court drinking mineral water. She had heard stories about him being the hot boy of the school, as well as the notorious gang leader who had to repeat 11th grade due to some trouble. It was said that he was involved in a fight where he almost killed a classmate, leaving a bloody scene that many witnessed. Shen Quan's eyes were described as terrifying by her classmates. Lin Wujing recalled seeing Shen Quan fighting on the street and noticed his impressive skills. When she asked her classmate why he fought, she received no clear answer. Despite disappearing from school for a while, Shen Quan returned after taking a year off. Her classmate then broke down in tears, expressing fear of being in the same class as Shen Quan and worried that he might overhear her badmouthing him. Lin Wujing comforted her, but her classmate seemed anxious about surviving until the end of the semester. After calming down, her classmate suggested introducing Lin Wujing to the school campus and dormitory. She explained that the school allowed boarding students and those living nearby to go home due to a lack of strict rules. Lin Wujing's eyes widened with interest as she listened to the story. The head of the Daisy suggested that she could write a request to stay at school, but it would require her parents' signature. Later, as Lin Wujing passed by the basketball court, Shen Quan's friend, Ha Song-nan, couldn't help but comment on the beautiful girls in the 10th grade. He especially noted the girl who had just walked by, describing her as looking like a queen but also sweaty from working out. Ha Song-nan wondered if she was really a 10th grade student or if she had transferred to the 11th or 12th grade. Upon learning that the girl was in the 11th grade and also Shen Quan's deskmate, Ha Song-nan was amazed at his friend's luck. He jokingly asked if she was hot, only to receive a glare from Shen Quan who made it clear that she was off limits. That evening, Lin Wujing sat alone in her room and made a phone call to her father. She expressed her desire to stay in the dormitory, a decision that could potentially change her entire school experience. Dad immediately fell silent after hearing Lin Wujing's words about wanting to stay in a boarding school. He began to criticize her, questioning why she didn't like staying at home and if her aunt was not good enough for her. Lin Wujing tried to explain, but her father interrupted, expressing his concern to talk to her aunt about it. Feeling frustrated, she retorted that her father was always sensitive, just like a housewife clinging to her husband's family. Her father was speechless and ended the conversation abruptly. Lin Wujing lay on her bed, unable to understand why her simple request to stay in a boarding school was met with such resistance. The next day at school, Lin Wujing arrived early, feeling upset that her parents didn't allow her to stay in the boarding school. The boarding request form required a parent's signature, and she contemplated forging her father's signature in order to fulfill her desire to experience life in a boarding school. But yesterday, the homeroom teacher noticed Lin Wujing writing in a different style, each stroke resembling the terrible handwriting of a primary school student. Shen Quan, standing next to her, was drinking a pouch of soy milk. Lin Wujing stood up to let him sit down. Today, the gang leader brought a backpack to school to blend in as a student. Shen Quan opened his English book and wrote his name boldly. This surprised Lin Wujing, as the handwriting was unexpectedly beautiful. She called out to Shen, but he seemed not to hear her. She changed her tone. "Hey, you at the same table." The pen in Shen Quan's hand fell on the table, and he turned to Lin Wujing with a blank expression. Warning her, "Speak politely." Lin Wujing decided to show a more gentle attitude, pointing to Shen Quan's English notebook, saying, "If there's any word you don't know, you can ask me." Shen Quan replied confidently, "Actually, my English is quite good." Lin Wujing was usually someone who surprised others with her kindness. Unable to stay quiet, Lin Wujing sarcastically retorted to Shen Quan, "Hey, you gangsters, do you have to learn how to be arrogant before entering society?" The classmates sitting behind them could feel the chill down their spines and their hair stood on end. Shen Quan's face darkened, and Lin Wujing realized that she might have gone too far this time. She was going to become the second classmate of Shen Quan to be beaten up. But then, Shen Quan burst into laughter, looking extremely pleased. Anyone who didn't know what had just happened would think that something very funny had occurred. The classmate sitting behind them seemed to have discovered a whole new world, astonished that the boss had not only not gotten angry after being insulted, but had actually laughed. Shen Quan laughed and answered Lin Wujing's question. Even arrogance must be learned for real. Lin Wujing was speechless, not understanding what he was talking about, as his tone sounded mocking. So she had to force herself to appear calm and said, "Tham, I think as classmates, we should help and support each other. I want to ask for your help. Let's move forward as a team." But the gangster suddenly approached her and asked with a smile, "So, how do you want us to support each other?" The gangster was now even trying to be the head of someone else's family. Lin Wujing wanted to ask for his help, not to become close in that sense. And he asked, "How do you want us to support each other?" It was just a normal question. But coming from this gangster, it felt strange. But at the same time, she didn't want to waste time playing games. "I just need the big brother to sign a word for me. If there's anything you don't understand in your studies later on, I'll help you," she said straightforwardly. However, he nonchalantly replied, "Your conditions are not very attractive. We of the underworld are skilled in deception, we don't need to study." Lin Wujing felt a wave of anger rising within her, shocked by his harsh response. The classmates began to hand in their summer homework, with Lin Wujing, as a new student, exempt from submission. She watched as the gang leader turned in a blank sheet, silently cursing his confidence in daring to submit such an empty assignment. After the commotion of submitting homework, the bell rang, signaling the start of the first English lesson. Lin Wujing's gaze kept drifting towards the gang leader, who opened his English book, wrote something, appeared serious, and then promptly tore the paper. Frowning, Lin Wujing found a small piece of paper being pushed in front of her. The gang leader continued their earlier conversation, asking her, "What word do you want me to sign?" She took the pen, scribbled a few words, and asked, "Is it a rule for the underworld not to speak in class, only to write on paper?" The gang leader, seemingly unfazed, took back the paper and turned to her, inquiring, "So what exactly do you want me to sign?" Lin Wujing approached Shen Quan and confided in him, explaining her dilemma with the dormitory application. Her father refused to sign the registration paper, forcing her to consider faking his signature. Shen Quan, understanding her predicament, jokingly offered to be her father instead. Despite feeling a surge of frustration towards Shen Quan, Lin Wujing managed to keep her cool and reminded him that they still had 2 more years of school together. Shen Quan's fearless response to her warning surprised her, but she decided to apologize for calling him a gangster and hoped for his forgiveness. Seeing Lin Wujing struggling with her handwriting practice, Shen Quan decided to help her by forging the signature on the dorm application. Despite her initial irritation, Lin Wujing softened towards him and appeared almost like a gentle cat in need of assistance. He then took the paper and began to draw lines. Just then, his friend from the 2nd grade ran down to find him. "Quan, let's go eat." "What are you doing?" Seeing him seriously signing a new signature, he found out that he was helping Lin Wujing forge a parent's signature. "Do you like her?" The friend stood up and put the paper down. But his friend didn't let it go. "Last time on the soccer field, I just looked at her and got kicked straight in the shin, remember?" Shen Quan suddenly felt hoarse, his voice rough. "So what? You keep staring at a girl's thighs, don't you realize you're being a pervert?" Unexpectedly, his friend retorted, "You also stare hotly, don't you? Your throat hurts and feels hot, too." Shen Quan kicked back, "You need a beating, don't you?" His friend took Shen Quan back to the old classroom, and the kids in the class lined up to welcome him. "Thank goodness I'm here to stand up for you, right? How's it going, big brother?" Shen Quan couldn't stand the embarrassment. "You're all grown up, still playing these childish tricks. My throat hurts, I don't have time for your foolishness anymore." Then, they all went together to the cafeteria for lunch. Lin Wujing, carrying a bowl of noodles, was looking for a place to sit, and the cafeteria was so crowded that she just had to find a spot at a table. She walked over to Sai Rui, a 12th grader, with her wheat-colored skin like a chocolate bonbon. So cute. But thinking about having to ask for a parent's signature made her sigh. She suddenly realized she forgot to grab chopsticks. The girl had an extra pair of chopsticks, so she gave them to Lin Wujing. Lin Wujing accepted the chopsticks, saying thank you. She took out her phone, which had been off the whole morning, and as soon as she turned it on, a message popped up. saying you're all grown up now, huh? Your mother doesn't need you. I raised you. All these irritating words that make my ears ring. Lin Wu-jing received a message from her father and lost her appetite. The girl may appear vulnerable, but she is still very brave. Her father doesn't love her, her mother doesn't care, but she still loves life. She even dares to threaten the leader of the local gang. That day, she went to the cafeteria to have lunch and coincidentally met a girl who looked like a chocolate candy. The two of them shared a table and had a very cheerful atmosphere. At that moment, a few senior girls stepped up to them, with a rude attitude, demanding to share the table. Sai Rui, I was trembling with fear. It was clear that these people were used to bullying others. They laughed loudly and said, "Sis, why? Is the noodles tasty? Someone who talks nonsense can't say anything worthwhile." Sai Rui, I was speechless. She cowered and couldn't look at the other person. The girl continued to be provocative, holding up a bottle of vinegar and demanding more seasoning for her. Then she crazily poured the vinegar into Sai Rui's noodle bowl. Sai Rui, I could only watch her lunch turn sour, unable to stop it. Seeing the girl cry, Lin Wu-jing couldn't bear it anymore and slammed the chopsticks on the table. Cursing at the head sister, Shen Quan said, "Are you blind?" A group of gangsters passed by the noodle shop and recognized Li Shiqi. Shen Quan asked, "Who is Li Shiqi?" They informed him that she was a beauty in 12th grade who he used to pursue for over a year. It was clear to a few people that Li Shiqi's group was bullying someone. Lin Wu-jing stood up to block her friend, surprising the gangster leader with her tough demeanor. She didn't hesitate to protect her friend and asked, "Are you blind?" The gangster leader stared at Lin Wu-jing in surprise and asked, "Who the heck are you? What do you have to do with this?" Lin Wu-jing confidently replied, "I am the one who raised you. Shut up and eat, then leave. Or if your dad doesn't take care of you, I'll do it. Let me tell you something straight." Her gray-haired friend applauded her bravery and said, "Cool. Just by looking at you, I can tell you've been through a lot." Li Shiqi, surprised by Lin Wu-jing's actions, complained, "I've been around this school for so long and no one has ever talked back to me." Lin Wu-jing then grabbed her hair and pressed her face into the hot noodle pan, causing steam to rise to Li Shiqi's face. She was so scared that she didn't dare to act up anymore, fearing that her face would be accidentally pressed into the pan. Lin Wu-jing warned the elder sister, "Watch your words from now on. Stop the nonsense. Otherwise, next time your face will really end up in the pan." After that, she kicked and Li Shiqi fell down screaming. Lin Wu-jing finally let go of her anger. After venting her anger, Sai Rui pulled her and whispered, "Stop the fire quickly, we are outnumbered and easily beaten by them." She grabbed Sai Rui's hand and the two of them ran out of the tent without looking back at the gang leader standing outside. At that time, Li Shiqi got up and chased after them. Shen Quan saw this and raised his hand to stop them. Li Shiqi, seeing Shen Quan following her, immediately stopped. Even from a distance, her hometown was visible. Lin Wu-jing went to the store to buy candy for his friend and told Sai Rui, "Don't cry, if they bully you, just punch them twice and it'll be over." Sai Rui hesitantly said, "I can't fight back." Lin Wu-jing began to pass on survival skills. If you can't fight back, then curse. If you're too scared, just throw anything at them. Take advantage of their lack of reaction and run to tell the teacher. If you keep crying like you just did, they'll keep bullying you. Am I right? Sai Rui, tearing up, said, "Thank you for helping me." Seeing how adorable she was, Lin Wu-jing told her, "If you ever get bullied again, come to 11th grade to find me." Then she ran back to her class and took a nap. Remembering that she still hadn't solved the issue of her boarding activities, she felt a headache again. At that moment, Shen Quan returned to the classroom and saw her wearing only a thin coat, looking pitiful. The bell rang, and Lin Wu-jing slowly opened her eyes. She blinked and looked up to see the gangster leader. They looked at each other and laughed. "I really don't understand what kind of girl you are." The teacher wrote on the board and told the whole class, "Order, we start studying." Shen Quan signed a big word on the first page of her book. Unexpectedly, her desk mate also signed her name. The gangster leader noticed her looking at him, then turned his gaze back. Lin Wu-jing was too embarrassed to look anywhere, and awkwardly turned to him. Then, the gangster leader asked her, What did you say to her when you were fighting in the canteen earlier? The girl, feeling lost and embarrassed, asked, What do you mean? Shen Quan reminded her, when you pressed her head, you whispered something in her ear. What did you say? They were both somewhat nervous and shy. And you saw it, but why didn't I see you? Shen Quan said, I just happened to pass by at that time. So, what did you say? Lin Wu Jing smiled mischievously. Shen Quan eagerly awaited to finally hear what she said. Lin Wu Jing whispered, I said I have someone backing me up. My big brother is Shen Quan standing outside the door. The girl witnessed her parents' marriage breaking down, so she moved to her stepmother's house with her father. She didn't feel comfortable staying there, so she went downstairs to get a drink in the middle of the night and accidentally overheard her stepmother's son talking to her aunt. I see that Mr. Meng's daughter is also well behaved, she said flatly. This is what's dangerous, your boys are only tough talkers, don't let it come to the point where your family's property falls into the hands of outsiders, and you come away with nothing. You're a different person from your father and mother, Aunt Zhong, I don't care about those things. I am very simple, I will not like him. The next morning, Lin Wu Jing reluctantly went to class. It looks like she still has to figure out how to apply for boarding. At this moment, she opened her notebook and made a surprising discovery. This is the signature of a parent. Could it be Shen Quan's signature? But he doesn't normally do that to me. Does he? I didn't expect him to silently lend a helping hand. Lin Wu Jing also had to repay the favor, as a righteous girl. But how should she repay him? He never seems to study, so he probably doesn't need help with his studies. Just then, the bell for class dismissal rang. Lin Wu Jing hurried to submit her application for boarding to the teacher. But the dorm rooms are already assigned, he said. I have to ask the teacher to help me find out if there are any vacancies in the supplementary dormitory. Finished with that, Lin Wu Jing went back to class. She saw a young man sitting at her seat. Dad, you left me alone like this. The other day, you said you were leaving, and I and the Chuonghan boys were caught by the police. When I got home, Mom almost killed me. Lin Wu Jing calmly looked back. Isn't this the blonde guy with Shen Quan the other night? The young man had a unique way of greeting, comparing every girl he saw to his mother. This habit got him scolded by his own mother before he could go to school. When he saw Shen Quan, his classmate, he ran over to hug him and start complaining. Lin Wu Jing arrived and saw them hugging, prompting Shen Quan to push him away, mentioning his desk mate was waiting. The young man then revealed that he thought Lin Wu Jing looked like his mom since they first met at a tattoo shop. Lin Wu Jing was taken aback by this strange comment. When he mentioned getting a tattoo on his butt, Shen Quan kicked him and told him to be quiet. As the bell rang for class, Lin Wu Jing wanted to thank Shen Quan for bringing up the dormitory application, but she wasn't sure how to start the conversation. Shen Quan seemed in a good mood, so she cleared her throat and leaned in to finally broach the subject. She covered her mouth, considering her words carefully before finally speaking her gratitude. Lin Wu Jing timidly gestured for Shen Quan to open his hands. She placed a lollipop in his palm, feeling a slight spark at the touch of his fingers. It was clear that she struggled to express her feelings, despite wanting to show her appreciation. Later, at a friend's house, they sat together at the table. Lin Wu Jing, now full from the hot pot, decided to lay down on the sofa for a nap. Shen Quan, being thoughtful, covered her with a blanket knowing she hadn't slept well in a while. As he closed the door, his brothers were waiting outside, teasing him about his feelings for Lin Wu Jing. They joked about the idea of them sleeping together, but Shen Quan simply brushed off their comments with a laugh. He explained that he was just helping her feel more comfortable in a group setting, not trying to make a romantic move. The conversation continued with laughter and banter, showing the camaraderie between the group. Get out, what do you think? 2 words later, Lin Wu Jing woke up with a start, opening her eyes to see the pitch-black room. She couldn't remember where she was. Suddenly, a male voice startled her, and she reached out and slapped Pop once, shouting, "There's a ghost." Shen Quan quickly turned on the light. Lin Wu Jing looked at him in surprise, only to realize that Shen Quan had just turned on the remote control. Shen Quan's face was bright red from the slap, and Lin Wu Jing looked at him ashamed, but for some reason she couldn't help bursting into laughter. The underworld big brother was slapped in the face. Seeing his swollen face, the girl was still holding her stomach and laughing loudly. I didn't even have time to make a judgment and heard your voice. Shen Quan glanced at her. So it's very funny? Shen Quan sighed helplessly. Lin Wu Jing hurriedly explained, it's not funny at all. I didn't mean to, don't be angry, but your look was a bit scary just now. She couldn't help but ask, is the person who slapped you last time still not in this world? Shen Quan laughed and replied, the person who slapped me last time hasn't even been born yet, you're the first one. Lin Wu Jing was astonished, unable to say anything, only a ghost would believe you. Without realizing it, it was already 10:30. Shen Quan decided to take her home, only to find out that her house was right next door. Today's gathering was really fun. See you on Monday, my desk mate. Shen Quan saw her off. See you on Monday.